Thanks for watching Beyond the Brick. Show off your LEGO fandom with our brand new merch line. Link in the description. Now enjoy the video.
My name's Tristan Cain. I'm 21 years old from Southwick, Mass. And this year I brought a dragon on a Rubik's Cube. I called it Rubik's Guardian. And the idea was I've done a few birds in the past, and I love doing animatronic-like things. So I wanted to try something a little bit different pose, different style building. So I wanted to incorporate it into the puzzles theme because it's a challenge to try to build for that every year. So I wanted to somehow link a dragon to a Rubik's Cube, so I came up with the idea that it's like a portal, so it has the different facets of the universe like fire, ice, water, earth, and so it's like overlooking it, making sure it doesn't become too mixed up. So that's the backstory to it. So I try to make it move, all my things move every year and add something. So this year, as always, it blinks. So the far one, it's a servo motor from 4x4 Technic trucks, so it does a 90-degree rotation one way and snaps back, so I only have to press down once and it blinks. The other one is a motor on a linear actuator, so it turns rotational motion into up and down, and then the head moves side to side. It has a pretty wide range of motion. The batteries are a little low, so it won't go fully. And there's lights in the back of the throat with orange studs, so it's orange, and then there's lights behind the eye that light up. And then the cubes at the bottom two layers spin, and I can control the direction. So I use the power function switch. So one way will make it go one way, and you turn it the other way, it runs the opposite direction. Okay. And the top one is stationary because I wanted somewhere to be able to house the battery packs and get access to changing things. So that's why it stays, and it also supports the dragon itself.
Yeah, well, that's incredible with all the different movement you've incorporated in there. When you started on this, what part of the build did you start with?
So ironically, it's backwards to everything. I always start with the top and work my way down. So every time I start with the head, because to me that's the focal point and that's the thing you look at the most, so I spend the most effort in that. So it took me about off and on, few afternoons, nights after work, whatever, doing the head. It was about 2 weeks. I started with the upper jaw, then the lower jaw, and then the top of the head, figured out the eye. It's actually an Exoforce disc that were in the clear launcher tube things. And then I tried to get the shape of the neck inside with Technic. I can actually take the front off here somehow. So that's basically what the whole inside of the bird is. It's dragon, sorry. It's the Technic beams and then the squares, which are really good at keeping things sturdy and square so they don't fall apart. And then I kind of stagger them at the bottom to get that curve, because normally the bird's neck is straight down over the body. So this one has a very organic shape. It's very stringy, so to speak. It's not straight down. Everything can rotate inside. So the motors for the jaw and the eyes are actually in the neck, and the wires run through into the body, which run to the receivers, which are cutouts on the back. And then all that is power function extension wires that go to the motors in the top of the cube.
Yeah, very intricate there. So how did you get the two different sections connected once they were both finished up?
So the head, originally I planned for it to come off, but it's so complicated I just left it on. The top of the dragon, there's actually a support back here underneath the rear of the body, and then the feet continue down inside. So there's a Technic wall and 4 posts actually inside the base, and then there's some that go across. And I have the 32 length Technic axles that go through Technic bricks in the perch, through the Technic bricks in the leg, and then out the other side. So the whole thing's pretty sturdy. I can wiggle it around a lot, and it's not going to go anywhere.
Nice. And then the wings definitely catch your eye when you first walk up. Yes, with the capes there.
Definitely, yeah. So I had a bunch of Batman capes laying around. Don't ask me why. They were just in a bin. And I wanted to do something different than the wings, because normally I do the wings closed and they're just tiled like the rest of the body. But dragons are a very impressive creature, so they usually have their wings open, and I wanted to try a different texture and a different way of doing it. So actually behind all the Batman capes is a full Technic frame of just all different beams and pins put together. About every other hole there's like a grid work, so to speak, and I used the ball joint pins and stuck them through the holes where they usually go over a minifigure neck.
Okay. Yeah, it definitely gives a very nice textured look. You don't see capes used like that real often.
Not quite, yeah. And then the wings come off. There's a removable section in the back. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there's 3 pins, and I can pull those pins out, and the wings will slide right off.
Gotcha. And so then moving down to the Rubik's Cube here, how'd you decide exactly what pieces and kind of the design of the different squares down there?
So I wanted to make the Rubik's Cube rotate, obviously not fully because I needed some of it for support. So I ended up going with the bottom 2 tiers moving so I could use the top one for storage, as I mentioned. And then I wanted to keep them light because I wanted them to move. So if there's more brick on it, more complicated, it's going to be heavier and a lot of friction because it's a lot of friction already. But I used the quarter round yellow gear rings from the bucket wheel excavator Technic set. So there's 4 sets of rings. Each cube has 2. So I have 2 motors that are driving gears that go across on a diagonal to the outsides of those rings, and that's what rotates them. And since they're independent, I can control them independently in the back. So I can have one go one way, have one stop, whatever. So it's a nice choice to have there.
Definitely, and there's so many moving parts in here. When you plan a build like this, do you just start building or do you try to sketch something out, or how's that work?
So once I get an idea, I just do a very, very basic sketch, like dragging on a cube, maybe with something else or whatever, and then I start with the head and figure out all the mechanics. And I try to think ahead where I'm going to put the battery packs and things, because in the past it's all had to be mounted in the bird because the motors had to spin in the body with the head. But this was a little easier since everything was contained up in there, so I could just run power function extension cables. So I just kept doing that. Once I got to the end of the body, I got it up on the perch, so then I could start working inside the cube and mounting things. So after getting it all situated, it kind of falls into place, more or less, yeah.
Well, it's a fantastic build here. I'm so glad you were able to get it out to BrickFair and display this. Has it been running pretty smoothly, all the moving functions?
Yes, yeah. Every morning I've been replacing the batteries with a fresh set, so the head's been working fine. The cubes, towards the afternoon, get a little wore down with the batteries because it's a lot of friction, so the motors are working hard. But for the most part, it's been working really well. I'm very happy with it.
I believe you also won a trophy there, so definitely want to say congrats for that. That's really awesome.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yeah, I ended up winning for Best Sculpture, which was an awesome surprise. I'm really fortunate and happy to it. A lot of great contenders, so it was just great to come out here and share what I make, and it brings a smile to my face. It's something I build at home, come here and people love it, so that's great.
For sure. Well, thank you so much for taking us through the build here. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.